SCP-080 Dark Form. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-080 is to be contained in a 4 meter by 4 meter room with a smaller antechamber located on the south wall to provide researchers with access. On the north wall, an observation room is to be connected, overlooking the main room through a window with thick blackout curtains that release only when the door to the observation room is closed. No attempts should be made to remove SCP-080 from this enclosure at any time. No more than one 7-watt incandescent light bulb is to be illuminated in the main room at any time. Absolutely no devices capable of producing light should be brought into the room. Under no circumstances should anything be brought into SCP-080's containment room that has the ability to shroud, conceal, or otherwise hide SCP-080. Failure to adhere to this will result in disciplinary action. Description: it is unknown if SCP-080 has a physical mass or body, as all attempts to interact with it physically have failed and have been met with adverse effects. See Experiment Log 080-2. Researchers and personnel have described seeing SCP-080 as various shadows and humanoid effigies, with the only common attribute being 2 smoking eyes. It has come to the attention of researchers that SCP-080 induces uncontrollable drowsiness upon anyone entering its chamber. After approximately 30 minutes, any person observing it will be forced into REM sleep and may suffer irreversible psychological damage. This effect occurs even if SCP-080 is being observed from a separate room. See Incident 080-1. If at any time SCP-080 finds a way to hide itself, such as in a cupboard, under a bed, covered in a sheet, etc., it will disappear entirely. Additionally, if any light enters SCP-080's containment room with a greater luminescence than that produced by a standard children's nightlight, SCP-080 will instantly vanish. Both of these events are considered a containment breach, and any personnel responsible for this will be severely reprimanded and possibly reassigned. For all inquiries regarding the origin of SCP-080 and its procurement by the Foundation, please see the attached Addendum 080-A. On 2000, Dr. and his immediate staff have begun complaining of increasingly stressful dreams. As he has had the most interaction with SCP-080 thus far, it has been theorized that SCP-080 is somehow capable of some type of mimetic effect on nearby personnel, even if not being directly observed. Addendum 080-B. As of 2000, following Dr. recent suicide, all personnel located in SCP-080's sector are to keep dream journals and are to inform site psychologists if dreams became increasingly violent or nightmarish in nature. Addendum 080-C. All staff are reminded that the blackout curtains in the observation room will not release if the door is not closed, and that exposure time should not exceed 30 minutes for any reason. See Incident 080-1. Addendum 080-D. It has come to the attention of senior research staff that some researchers are unable to see SCP-080 and may be entirely immune to its effects. Any personnel that thinks they are incapable of perceiving SCP-080, please report to Dr. for mandatory testing. Addendum 080-E. It has been suggested following Incident 080-1 that a D-Class personnel be fed to SCP-080 once per month in order to neutralize SCP-080's effects on the mental health of on-site personnel. 05. Approved. Incident 080-1. On 2000. A planned observation was conducted by 2 senior researchers. The researchers entered the observation room and the blackout curtains were released. Believing the room to be safely shielded from SCP-080's effects, as it had in the past, the researchers began observing SCP-080. Approximately 40 minutes after observation began, both researchers suddenly fell asleep. Upon their retrieval, it should be noted that following this incident, all on-site personnel that had reported suffering nightmares and feelings of unease had a good night's sleep and were generally in a more pleasant mood the following day. Note: all personnel are requested to stop referring to SCP-080 as the Boogeyman. Dr. Experiment Log 080-2. Date 2000. Subject D080-1, male, 19 years old. Procedure: subject was sent into room with SCP-080. Details: subject entered room containing SCP-080 at 1426. Begin log 1426. Dr. D080-1, do you see anything? D080-1. No, it's pitch black in here. Subject is silent for several minutes. D080-1. Did you just let something in here? It feels like something's watching me. Doctor. No, D080-1. We did not let anything into the room. D080-1. What the fuck is that? D080-1 is seen tripping and falling to the floor. Doctor. What did you see? D080-1. This giant blackness, like someone just standing in the corner. Oh God, it's looking right at me. Let me out! D080-1 proceeds to pound on the door leading into the antechamber. Doctor. It's looking at you? Please describe its physical appearance. D080-1. I don't know. Oh God, let me out. I don't want to be in here. D080-1 starts whimpering. Doctor. Tell me what it looks like, D080-1. Then we can let you out. D080-1. It looks like a figure hunched in the corner. Doctor. Is it a human? D080-1. It's too big to be human. D080-1 yawns. It's still looking at me. Doc, still staring. Doctor. Move closer to it. D080-1 proceeds to move to the corner of the room, obviously experiencing difficulty staying on his feet. D080-1. Its eyes look like vapor just staring at me, like it wants me to do some... D080-1 falls to the floor again. Doctor. D080-1, can you hear me? Subject is unresponsive for the next 5 minutes. End log 1458. Subject presumably collapsed. Subsequently, no remains of D080-1 were found, and it is assumed that SCP-080 consumed D080-1. Experiment 080-2-B. Date 2000. Subject D080-2, female, 30 years old. Procedure. Subject was sent into a room with SCP-080 with intent to physically interact with SCP-080. Details. Subject entered room containing SCP-080 at 17:35 under instruction of Dr. Begin log 1735. Doctor. Tell me what you see. D080-2. I don't see jack shit. Why is it so dark in here? After several minutes. Holy shit, what is that? It's just standing in the middle of the room. Doctor. Describe what you see. D080-2. It's just standing in the middle of the room. I can make out 2 eyes, I guess. Doctor. Could you please approach it and let us know if anything changes? D080. I feel drowsy. Did you slip me something or what? Doctor. Reach out and touch it. Tell me what you feel. D080-2. You want me to touch that thing? Doctor. Yes, please proceed. After a few minutes of argument, it is presumed that D080-2 proceeds to touch SCP-080. At this time, the subject becomes unresponsive. End log 1812. Subject was found asleep in the corner of SCP-080's containment room. Subject appeared to suffer no physical harm during experiment. Subject was interviewed after medical staff deemed D080-2 to be in good physical health. See attached interview log 080-1. Experiment 080-3-C. Date 2000. Subject D080-3, male, 24 years old. Procedure. Subject was sent into room with SCP-080 having been given a powerful amphetamine. Upon entering the room, subject was advised to tell researchers what he saw. Subject describes a shadow-like figure in the center of the room. Subject was informed to stand still and inform researchers of any changes. 10 minutes into the experiment, subject began yawning and became noticeably frightened. Subject became uncooperative and attempted to escape the containment room. Upon failing to escape, subject announced an intent to harm SCP-080 and presumably attempted to attack it. Upon doing so, subject immediately collapsed. D080-3's body was recovered from SCP-080's containment room soon afterwards, having apparently suffered a major heart attack. Upon collecting D080-3's body, researchers described an intense feeling of unease, a feeling of being watched, as well as a more acute awareness of SCP-080's presence in the room. Interview log 080-1. Interviewed D080-2. Interviewer Dr. Forward. D080-2 was interviewed following an inconclusive experiment involving SCP-080 where the subject was secured in the room with SCP-080 for 37 minutes. Begin log Doctor: Please describe what you remember from the experiment. D080-2. Doctor: Later notes that D080-2 had a spaced-out expression and tone of voice. You told me to walk over to it and touch it. I didn't want to. I didn't. Doctor: What happened when you touched it? D080-2. When I touched it? Have you seen that thing? Touch it. I couldn't move. It was staring at me, and I just couldn't move. Doctor: You didn't respond for several minutes. What were you doing? D080-2, becoming increasingly agitated. It just stared at me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. D080-2 starts to hyperventilate. Doctor: Calm down, D080-2. Take a deep breath. Do you remember falling asleep? D080-2. It just stared and stared, not moving, but I felt something. I was on the floor, and they were all over me. They're here! D080-2 begins to scream and abruptly gets to their feet. No, they're trying to take me away! Back to that thing! I won't go back! You can't make me go back in there! D080-2 lunges at Doctor. Is subsequently terminated. End log. End file.